Excited to have real estate expert James McCloskey here from Real Pro Canada. We're going to talk about the real estate market, and also he's going to answer some listener questions. Welcome to the show, James.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks for having me.
All right, first let's talk about where do you focus your real estate business and what company are you with?
I work for Remax Realty Enterprises, and I focus most of my business in Burlington, Hamilton, Milton, Oakville, and Mississauga.
So that's quite an area.
It's a beautiful area in the west end of the city.
All right, so you definitely are a West End boy.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's focus in on Burlington. How's that?
Burlington is a fantastic community, and Money Sense magazine has actually rated Burlington the second best community in all of Canada to live. And that's based on indicators like weather, crime levels, home prices, and employment.
So being second, I'm going to have to ask what was number one.
What's first?
Well, it's not always important being number one, but being number two.
It means you try harder, right?
It means you try harder to get to number one.
What's number one?
Ottawa, Ontario.
Ottawa.
The capital.
I don't mind Ottawa, but I'm happy living in the GTA. Just saying that. I got friends in Ottawa. I don't want them to get mad, but you know.
Well, I think the politicians had something to do with that.
You might be right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to say, voting between the two, if I had Ottawa and Burlington, I'd pick Burlington, landslide.
I don't think there's any question about that.
Okay, so let's talk about Burlington. What's going on there? Why do people want to live there, and why are they saying it's the best?
Well, I mean, there's so many opportunities there. A lot of people are moving from the East End, from Toronto and east of the city into Burlington because housing prices. I mean, if you look at the cost of living in Toronto versus Burlington, there's no comparison. The house that you can get in Toronto and the condominium, semi-detached, et cetera, are so much more affordable in the West End.
So let's talk some prices. So, for example, what's an entry-level house in Burlington going for? Because a lot of people don't know.
Sure. I mean, you can get into a detached house between $350,000 and $400,000. I mean, some need some work, obviously, but into the city, that's almost virtually impossible to get into now. And great communities. These are great communities, people with young families, dogs, the amount of parks, waterfront. I mean, it's such a beautiful community to live in.
We're seeing high-rise too as well in Burlington now.
Who would have thought?
Condos starting in the high 100s, so
Wow.
199s.
Wow.
$199.
I know.
Yeah, can you believe that?
It's a couple of parking spots on Yorkville.
So in terms of real estate, obviously Burlington offers everything.
Yes.
Why, though, are people moving into that area?
It's such a great community feel. You feel like you're within the city. You feel like you're a stone's throw away because you have the 407, you have the QEW, you have the 403, and then you also have the immediate transit with the GO train that brings you in quite quickly.
So still, again, very accessible for commuters.
And
Absolutely.
you have Casino just, 45 minutes away?
Yeah, not that far. maybe
Falls,
closer to 55 minutes.
Okay.
Not that I've been there many times. But yeah, it's very close. But there's so many things to do. I mean, we have great festivals in the city. We have Canada's largest rib fest. Simon, you look like
You'll let me know about
ribs.
that. I like ribs.
That's Labor Day weekend. We have Sound of Music Festival, which happens during the summertime, which they play in parks. All these great musicians play in parks. They play on the street. It's fantastic. Glen Eden Ski Center is very close. The Bruce Trail, so if you like to hike, and everything's just around the corner.
So you hear a lot, James, where people will say Oakville, but it's amazing just going from Bronte, how that's expanded. We had Sue Heddle on before.
Yep.
She was mentioning about Bronte. And then now Burlington. I mean, Burlington is just one of those places where it was considered secondary too, right? To Oakville.
Well, separate too, but it's almost like a bit of a blend now.
It was,
Yeah.
yeah. I agree with you, Simon. I mean, in the past, Oakville had sort of a aura about it as being better than Burlington, but that's not the case anymore. I mean, especially with
Your stats.
the stats and Money Sense, and you have all these.
Got some stuff to back you up.
Yeah.
You came prepared.
I came prepared. I want my Burlingtonians to be represented here. So,
in terms of architecture and home, you can have a real mix of architecture and style. So what about Burlington? Is that the same?
it is the same. I mean, you have had a lot of new construction closer to the lake,
All right.
Especially in the last 10 years. But you do have some beautiful houses down there with a lot of character, a lot more character than you get in some other cities. So it's a nice blend between the new stuff and stuff that has a lot of character within
And what
it.
about the waterfront? I mean, sometimes, again, areas can do it well, and sometimes they don't do it so well.
Well, Burlington, I have to say, the city has spent a lot of money on the waterfront. They redid Spencer Smith Park, which is one of the biggest parks down in Burlington. Spencer's, which is a beautiful restaurant which overlooks the lake. They turned the water fountain and the little pond into a skating rink in the wintertime. It's absolutely beautiful. There's over about 200 restaurants in Burlington now. So down by the waterfront, some spectacular little bistros that have opened up, and they're creating a pier down there too.
If you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Real Estate Talk Show right here on AM640, and in studio is James McCloskey from Real Pro Canada, and we're talking about what Money Sense magazine rates as the second best, well, let's say the best place in the GTA. I like the sound of that better, which is Burlington. Now, this is the real estate talk show, James. So let's talk turkey. From an investment standpoint, how is the rental market? What are the options available for investors out there today?
Yeah, the rental market is very strong in Burlington, and the reason being, again, is affordability. You get a lot more bang for your buck even as a renter out in the West End. So a lot of people have bought properties, and some of the smaller properties that we talked about, the detached that are starting $350,000 and $400,000. Great opportunity for someone as an investment to come in, do a little bit of work, fix it up, potentially put a second apartment in the basement, and to really, really maximize your dollar in terms of investment and return.
Yeah, an interesting thing, because when we look at rents in a market like Burlington and we compare them to the city of Toronto, where prices might be double for the same thing in Toronto,
right,
rents are not 50% cheaper in Burlington. They're stronger. So you end up starting to get higher and higher returns the further out from the CN Tower you go.
Absolutely.
So, we often talk in terms of cap rates and ROIs. So what we're seeing is, and I've seen the numbers, we're seeing higher cap rates and stronger cash flow in pockets like Burlington. So definitely opportunities out there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I mean, rent is not really affected by the market at all. I mean, there's always going to be a rental market. So rental prices don't really get affected by what happens to the market, interest rates, how the prices are going.
People need a place to stay. And if they can't buy, of course, they're going to rent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they remain pretty stagnant and steady. And, Burlington is a great investment community.
Okay, James, you have to tell me what are some great opportunities that are available in the Burlington or surrounding area. So we call this the pick of the weeks, and our listeners love this.
Absolutely.
We got a lot of investors that listen, and of course, people that just truly are interested in real estate.
Well, I got a couple great listings here. One in Alton Village, the community that I have been talking about in the northeast end of Burlington. It's only a few years old, 2,855 square feet, listed at $759. 4-bedroom, 4-bath, gorgeous oak hardwood throughout, beautiful walk-in closet. 3 of the bedrooms all have their own washrooms, en-suites.
En-suites,
So,
beautiful.
I mean, you just can't find that east of that area. I mean, it's just an absolutely gorgeous home.
And that pocket, as you said, it's Alton?
Alton Village, which has 3 brand new schools, high school,
Okay,
grade school, and Catholic school. One of the great parks in Alton Village has so many amenities, and it has 2 lit artificial sports fields, splash pad, kids playground, sitting area, and a skate park. I mean, it's one of the best parks in all of the West.
Simon, that's perfect for you.
Exactly. I don't know how to skate, but other than that's perfect, yeah.
Okay, how about another one?
Well, one of the great communities also in Burlington is Tyendega to Burlington, which has a golf course in it. This one has about 2,800 square feet, but it's more a mature area. So people looking for a little more bigger lots, more mature trees, this will be it for you. 3-bedroom, 4-bath. You can actually see the lake from the master bedroom.
So you can see the lake and you're on a golf course.
Absolutely. It's beautiful property. Beautiful
And
property.
That sounds more like it.
Yeah, what's the price of that?
That's listed at 800.
800?
800.
Wow. Okay, let's get to some listener questions. Are you willing?
Absolutely.
Basically, our listeners, they go into realestatetalkshow.ca, and a gentleman submitted, it's a very long question, but I'm going to narrow it down. He walked away from a purchase in Burlington. It was in multiple offers, and basically he wasn't comfortable getting rid of the inspection clause. He's asking for guidance as to, for the next time around, really, does he have to remove that to have kind of his best foot forward in a negotiation?
Well, I'm thinking I may even want to explain that to our listeners. So, for example, when you're doing an offer, obviously you guys know this, but for our listeners, when you're doing an offer, you typically go in with your price and your closing date, but you usually have conditions for things like financing or home inspection. But when you're in a situation like this, you're competing against other buyers, you want to make your offer that much more desirable to the seller. So a savvy buyer with a savvy agent will often remove the condition, which in essence is going in with a firm offer. This client was uncomfortable doing that because they didn't know the condition of the house. So,
correct.
James, what do you say to that?
I do agree with you. I mean, it is something that I think most buyers need to have in their offer. And the way that you can do that is having a savvy agent or professional who knows how to handle those situations, who's been in multiple offers before. And I do agree with the buyer. I mean, some buyers are uncomfortable with it. They may uncover something without the home inspection after buying it that they're not comfortable with. That could cost them thousands, sometimes $10,000s of dollars.
Yeah, and there's a reason why we say buyer beware, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And they need to hire a professional who will help them take and guide them through that process. But one of the things that I've done with my clients, having handled this many times, is to do a pre-inspection, they're called.
Ah, that's a good idea.
And, a savvy agent like myself, someone who has done a lot of deals, has contacts with many different home inspectors and can put you in touch with them to do a quick inspection, sometimes at less of a cost. And that way you can make an offer based on that comfortably.
So you do the inspection before the offer, and you're basically looking for major problems.
Absolutely.
You're not going to go drill down into the nitty-gritty.
Absolutely.
And what we're also seeing these days very often, folks, is we're seeing a lot of very smart sellers and their agents pre-inspecting the house before they put it on the market and making that report available, that current report available to buyers. So, the market is adapting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can they usually call that inspector. They have a vested interest in doing a good job. They're professional. They have their own business. So contact them and ask them any questions that you have about the inspection that the seller has done to make sure that you and your buyer are comfortable with that.
And listeners out there, again, it's not necessary where there's an inspection already done on a listing for you to go ahead and do your own inspection, because these people, again, are bonded. They're obligated, again, to disclose all the facts within a home. So whether you get another one, honestly, that's why that report's there. You can literally ask for a copy of it, or if it's on their table, review it. It's there for everybody to see, to make an informed decision, right?
Or sometimes they'll charge you, like $100 for a walk. They call it a walkthrough inspection,
Right.
where they'll review the report that they did with you, so you have a sense of comfort.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So James, we've run out of time. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great job today, buddy.
Thanks.